Let's take the Brahmastra conversation ahead with Murtaza Ali, who's the film critic on the show with us today. Murtaza, good evening. Welcome to the show. First question, did you watch the film?
Of course, I watched it last evening at the press screening that they had scheduled for Delhi media.
Okay. And your reaction, how is it? How many stars? Did you like it?
See, actually, I kind of like the film, though I have my reservations. I won't give it a perfect rating, but I would definitely, give it a rating of 3.5 out of 5 because I feel that, there are a lot of more tick marks, than the not so correct ones. So I feel if you look at the film from the point of view of a visual spectacular, it is from the point of view of visual appeal, I think it scores well. If you look at from the romance point of view between Ale and Ranveer, because their on-screen chemistry and their real-life chemistry that really translates well. There also it scores. In terms of the X factor, I think the cameos from Nagarjuna and Shah Rukh Khan, they prove to be the real X factors here. And we also have a menacing, super villainess in form of Moni Roy. So a lot of these areas, the film scores really well. Couple of areas where the film somewhat suffers. One is to do with the running time. At 2 hours 40 minutes, I feel it's slightly 10 to 15 longer. They could have easily, cut it down to 2 hours 20 minutes. That would have been the perfect runtime for this film. And also, somewhere I feel that a lot of people, that I have spoken to, they say that there are a lot of similarities to Avengers, to Harry Potter films. So that is something that is very, very difficult to overlook because inevitably when you're talking about superheroes, when you're talking about magical power, so there has to be some similarities with those kind of films which have been seminal in their space. Having said that, the way it tackles Hindu mythology and how it brings in the concept from our own scriptures and is able to present it on the screen in such a larger than life fashion, that really enthralled me. Beyond all the queries and all the reservations that I had, I really enjoyed it, as a visual spectacle.
All right, but then let's talk about the content because the report really says a lot of reports. I mean, there are mixed reviews, because I've seen videos which people are putting up on social media where the box office or the theater is actually houseful. But then there are reactions saying the story mein dum nahi hai, Obviously, it's wonderful to see VFX and after Bahubali, people are really used to and looking forward to it. But then, as you rightly said, 2 hours 40 minutes, very long time for a person to, to actually hold on to their seat and watch something. Talking about the storyline and the screenplay, how tight do you think is it?
See, the first half is actually surprisingly, it just flows past you and you don't even get a note that, okay, we have reached the intermission point. So the first 1 hour, 20 minutes or so is really pacey. But, second half, takes its time and it's but obvious, because when you are trying to, get into the second act wherein you are now opening up conflicts, you are going back, into the backstories and you are exploring the different dynamics and what the threat, lies ahead in the near future for these characters. I think that's where it takes a little longer than it should, but I think it's justified also in a way because first hour is all about setup. We get to know about these characters. Okay, this is Shiva, this is his world. Okay, this is his love, this is what he wants to do, and then we get to introduce to these characters played by Nagarjuna and Shah Rukh Khan, and they are wonderful cameos, and you also get introduced to this dark character played by Moni Roy. So the first hour is very breezy, but comes second hour, things actually settle down, and that is where film somewhat suffers in terms of pace. Even though it's not a big, it's not a deal breaker, if you ask me, there are positives even in that because I really like the dynamics, how it opens up a whole new canvas.
So would you call it a hit, Murtaza? Would you call it a hit, or is it just too early to say that?
See, I personally feel that it's going to do better than Lal Singh Chadda, that's for sure. And it's going to do better than a lot of the films, that are coming out. Because you have to understand that the romance part is done really well. And the songs, especially the ones which are, shot in Varanasi and a couple of others, they are, I think, really superstar. People are going to love it. And the romance between Ale and Ranveer, it really reminds us, takes us back to those early films of Ranveer Kapoor with, Deepika Padukone and with, Katrina Kaif. So that is very good to see that vivacious look of Ranveer back. So he's no longer, that grim, angst-driven character. He's more lively now. Though, I'm sure that the character arcs towards the second half, he's now going to go into a more grimmer territory as the plot thickens. But how it begins, I think that's very, very Ranveer of the 2000s, late 2000s and 2010s. That was the most rejuvenating aspect of the film for me, that we got to see Ranveer Kapoor of old.
Do you think this will be a Brahmastra for Bollywood also, and the trend that we are seeing, boycott Bollywood, will now just vanish away?
See, boycott Bollywood trend anyway is bound to, not something that's going to stay for too long, because it is actually driven by certain forces at play which don't have strength. They are, people who shout at the top of their voice, but, there is little substance in that. So it all depends on content. If there's good content, which I feel, Brahmastra is almost, I would give it, 65 to 70% on in terms of content. I feel, this is going to slowly fizzle away, this all boycott thing, and slowly, as we see Bollywood fold returning to the fore, this is something that's going to subside in the days to come. But again, it's a little too early to call. I would still wait for, a few more days, because word of mouth is what's going to make the difference in the ultimate run. If the word of mouth is good, then I'm sure that the film is going to prevail at the box office.
Now let's talk. So you think one should include watching Brahmastra in the weekend plan?
Definitely. I feel that it's a family entertainer, and after a very, very long time, I think it was rightly mentioned in the report that after Bahubali, this is the first time that a visual spectacle has come out, and this is a film that you can enjoy with your whole family. The kids, the grandparents, everybody can join in this, celebration of cinema, and it also celebrates Hindu mythology beautifully, the Indian aspects of, Guru Shishya Parampara, the Gurukul Parampara, and all the beautiful aspects of, Brahmastra, which we have seen in our mythological epics. So that way, I think it's something that's going to connect a lot of people, across age groups, because it's something that we have grown up listening to, hearing to, watching, on the television screen. So that way, I think it's something that's going to draw a lot of minds, and across age groups to come and watch this on the big screen.
Apart from Brahmastra, which other movie you think should be on the radar, whether movie screens or OTT? I doubt there's anything in the theater apart from Brahmastra now to watch. But then apart from that, if one wants to have like a movie weekend or a good series weekend, what would that be?
See, the interesting thing is that there is actually a lot on offer, in the OTT space. That is something that can actually work against Brahmastra, because there is Akshay Kumar's Katputli on, Disney Hotstar. There is also, these two amazing fantasy series. One is The Ring of Power, which is the prequel series to Lord of the Rings. There's also House of the Dragon, which is a spin-off series to Game of Thrones. So those series are anyway there. There's also the new season of Cobra Kai coming out. There's another interesting series on Netflix, which is a psychological thriller called Devil in Ohio. So I think there's a lot, and now, a lot of films are now coming on OTT, which is very, very interesting. We have been waiting for some of these films to come on, like Sita Raman and Raman is now coming on OTT, and a lot of other films and series are coming on OTT, which had released Ekta Villain Returns is now coming on OTT. So that way, I think it's going to be a very, very entertainment high weekend. So even if you want to stay put, you don't want to go to cinema halls, and you still want to wait, for a few more days before really you decide to go for Brahmastra on the big screen, I think all these options can keep you, pretty occupied during your weekends.
In the beginning, in your answer, you mentioned that there could be some kind of content that could give competition to Brahmastra. Do you really see this is happening? OTT content simultaneously, if released with the movie release, is actually giving competition?
Absolutely. There are no two ways about it, because now people, you have to understand that this is a habit of 2 years. It is not something that has happened overnight. Slowly and steadily, these OTT platforms has inculcated these new habits, these new trends. So now every time, when we used to hit the weekends, we used to plan for movies that, okay, it's Friday, it's Saturday, let's go out and watch some movies. But now that has changed. Now we would rather stay back in our homes. We would want to take some rest, spend some good family time, and watch it, on our big LED screens, or somebody who's want to watch it in a more private space, they would probably watch it in their laptops. So yes, it's 2 years of habit changing, and in order to reverse it, I think it's going to take some time. It's going to take some huge movies, more movies like Brahmastra. One Brahmastra is not enough. Bollywood has to churn out more such films, because this is a habit that has been reversed in 2 years. Now it will take some time, to get back to its old state. So I think that is something that will always be a huge threat for Bollywood, because there's so much of content on OTT. You have to understand that a film like Katputli, which is a big film, Akshay Kumar film, it could have easily released on the big screen also. But I think the makers did a smart choice and they opted for a Disney Hotstar release. And now that is a very good option. If you really don't want to go to the big screens, you can just simply chill out at home and watch, Katputli. Or, there are other, like Ikta Villain Returns is now also available on OTT. You can watch that. You can watch Sita Raman. So there is so much of options available, but I would still feel that people who really are, interested in watching big screen spectacles, they would definitely go for Brahmastra. This is my gut feeling. I could be wrong, but I really feel that more and more people would like to watch Brahmastra now, because there has been a big void. There has been a very longish dry run, and this can be that, that big change that Bollywood is looking for.